What's up, everyone? Welcome to Three Chicks in a Pod. I am Megan Price. I got Jenn Lewis next to me, and then I got Candy down below. What's up, ladies?
Hey, what's
Hi.
up?
How is y'all's week going?
Pretty good. How about yours?
Going pretty well. Been busy, even though I'm technically on vacation, but still have had tons of stuff to do. So it's been busy, hectic, like always.
Some things never change, right?
Right. Whether you're at work or not, some things just never change. I'm trying to go and share the show real quick, ladies, and put it into the groups real quick so we get our viewers up.
You just have a different level of stress because it's not work stress, it's home stress or things that you have to do, right?
Right. Like I moved this last month, and so I'm still like I'm pretty well unpacked, but I got to get some stuff to storage. I have some stuff that I have to get done still, so that's kind of what I've been doing. All right, so it's been a really interesting week in the sports world. Tons of drama this past week. Let's start with on the college level. We had Michigan State versus Michigan. We had an incident in the tunnel. Kenny, you want to go ahead and give us some of the details?
Sure. It was after the game. They were going back into the locker room. Typically, the visiting team is going to go in first. So Michigan State was going in. There were some Michigan players that came in before all of Michigan State was gone, and a fight ensued. Basically, and I won't even say a fight because really it was the Michigan State players, unfortunately, beating up on at least two of the Michigan players to the
Wow.
point where we've heard like there was some injuries involved, and they're talking. I mean, police are investigating it. They do have videos of it. They pulled them kind of almost aside, almost into another room. So we don't even know if we caught everything on camera, to be honest with you.
Right.
Michigan State has already suspended. They said suspended 4 players. They suspended more today. So there's a total of 8 right now suspended pending the investigation. The Big Ten is also investigating. This this tunnel has been there for over 100 years, and they've done this. And it really shocks me that in today's day and age that there is still only one tunnel that both teams share, and that they're coming down or going back at the same time. That they're even allowed to. This was after a game. This is an in-state rivalry where they're really like either you're a Michigan fan or you're a Michigan State fan. Normally you're not
Right.
both, and they really battle and they really battle hard together. And so they battled hard. Michigan State was on the bad side of it. So they lost. They were expected to lose because Michigan is ranked. Everybody talks about college football playoffs and rankings, and everything plays into that. So, including the score, whereas people think they were running up the score, well, that's part of what's taken into consideration at the end of the year when the playoff committee is figuring out who should be in the playoffs and who shouldn't. So I can see Michigan's side keep, scoring and run up the score. Well, Michigan State took offense to that, and some players took it into their own hands, unfortunately. Very unfortunate situation.
And so, do you think we'll see expulsions? Do you think this will just be something where just suspensions, or do you think it'll go beyond just the suspensions?
Honestly, I think it'll go beyond because I think even because the cops, I know the police are involved. I heard that there was taking a helmet. It's one thing to take a
Oh,
fist
yeah.
and hit somebody, but to take a helmet and hit, now you're using a weapon. So it's a little bit different than just your fist and fighting.
Right. And so, um, and there was another incident, Jen, that was concerning tunnels. And so I know
hmm
that you said that, Candy, you said that this is a tunnel that's been there for 100 years. Now, is this common in other football fields that they only have one tunnel, or do usually the visitors have a different tunnel?
Typically, I think this is one of the only ones in college that actually has one tunnel, I believe. At least I know in the Big Ten it is. I know that on Sunday night, the Buffalo Bills played the Green Bay Packers in Buffalo, and I know one of the Buffalo Bills players came down with the Green Bay Packers, so I'm assuming they only have one tunnel as well.
Yeah, they do. And it's just absurd. And I'm sorry to cut you off, Candy.
No,
Like, you guys save it for the field. Like, MSU, you lost. Like, Michigan, you're carrying your trophy. You shouldn't get beat by a helmet. And there's actually, I don't remember if I sent it in our group chat or not, but I saw a link for that showed like the helmet being swung at one of them. So hi D. And then so I don't know. It's just save it for the field.
Absolutely save it for the field. Definitely something that, just one of those where emotions got the best of people. We've seen similar type of things happen. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember when Miami and University of Florida had that big old fight on the field. Or no, it was Florida International. Is that what it was? I don't know. It was a whole huge brawl on the field. And, I think that's just something that in that sport, you have to save that aggression, not only for on the field, but in the play within the game, and not take it too far. Do you feel like it was something that coaches knew of? Like they knew it was getting to this point? Could it have been stopped from getting to that point?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know that they would have thought it would have gone to this level. I mean, yes, there's jarring all the time, I'm sure. But to this level, I don't think they would have thought.
Okay, for example, when Tech and Texas Tech play each other, or when Texas Tech and Texas play each other, like there is an increased police presence at those games, and that's very common. Same thing with the OU games, like just very common that presence there is there a little bit more. And even, I'm in Texas, the high school games are taken pretty seriously too. When it's a rival school, there's always extra police there, and so for them not to anticipate this happening like this, there's nothing that they could have done to prevent the teams from interacting with each other in the tunnel. They couldn't have prepared better for that.
That's where I think they will be doing better. I think they have to. But as you look at the video, it shows like Michigan goes to one side and Michigan State goes to the other side, and it almost was like they were. I hate to say this, but it kind of looked like they were almost waiting for some of the Michigan players, and there was some Michigan players just walking.
Yeah. And some of the angles, it was whack. Well, are y'all cool if I bring our guest on real quick a few minutes early to see his take on this also?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thanks. Hello, Jenzel.
I'm on the first ever episode. Hey, how you doing? Sorry I'm late.
Soft launch, yay.
Absolutely. I was listening to the commentary and everything, and I'll say this much. When it comes to college hated rivalries, that will never go away. No. And we all remember, it was FIU, by the way, Megan. It was Miami and Florida and FIU, yeah. But also even worse than that, Florida State and Miami back in the 90s and early 2000s, Right. I mean, Texas, OU, everyone's going to get riled up and everything, And then you get riled up and you shove each other a little in the tunnel. That's one thing. Waiting after the game to jump someone is a whole nother thing. That's why they're wanting charges to come down. That's why they're wanting NCAA to crack down, because now it's become a planned assault.
Yep.
Right. Absolutely.
100%. Hey, Jeremy.
Well, Jay, since we have you on a little bit early, we definitely want to talk World Series with you. Talk to us about just kind of the whole road for the Astros coming up to the World Series, like as far as playoffs and what led them here.
Well, what led them here, and I'll take this time to remind everyone that it's just been a testament to just how good the Stros have been through the years. Because if you notice, if we lost one star, we replaced them with another. We lost George Springer to the Blue Jays. We replaced them with Alvarez. We lost Carlos Correa to the Twins. We got Jeremy Pena, and he's a rookie, and he just won ALCS MVP and just won a Gold Glove. Just announced today. Now, and shout out to James Tatum because I told him this before game one. We actually are facing the worst kind of team right now. And that is a team that barely made the playoffs and got hot at the right time. So I'm not overlooking absolutely anything. I will say this much: mistakes were made as far as game one. It should be Stroh's 2-0. I mean, Dusty Baker didn't yank Verlander near soon as he should have, but he made up for the mistake in game two because as soon as and Valdez had immaculate pitching, as soon as he gave up a run in the sixth, he took him out, and then the Astros closed him out. You jump out to a 5-0 lead, you're supposed to close the door. Period. You don't let the pitcher, who historically has been bad in the World Series, and JV's my guy. He's historically been bad in the World Series. You don't let him sit in there and single-handedly allow the Phillies back into the game. So and then not only that, but that one play hurt because we had a man on. Altuve was at second, and it was 2 outs, and then a pop fly was hit. Castellano from the Phillies made a hell of a sliding catch. If that ball drops anywhere in the green, Altuve's home and game over. So the Phillies had a lot of luck go their way in game one also. So, but we'll see what happens. Game three's tonight. We're going to be facing both the crowd and the Phillies. I figure I still am going to say Astros in 6 games. I will say this much. No matter who wins tonight, the other team's going to tie the series tomorrow. If the Stros win tonight, Phillies will tie it tomorrow. The Phillies win tonight, Stros will tie it tomorrow. Then I got the Stros winning games 5 and then 6 in Houston. Well, game 5 in Philly, I'm sorry, and then 6 in Houston.
Okay. And that's going to be tough, but I definitely agree that the person that gets that win in the opposing team on the road, when they get that win there, I think that's probably going to be the team that finishes on top. Talk to me about what you think it means to you guys to, let's say, best case scenario, you guys win the championship again. How is this different than the last time you won the championship?
It'll be different because the same team wasn't there. Like I said, we lost McCann, we lost Correa, we lost Springer. It's just a different team and different coach. Because Hitch got let go, and then we replaced him with Dusty Baker. And so, like I said, it'll be different in the terms of it's someone. They still got Bregman there, you still got Altuve there. Of course, but there's different personnel there. It's just a testament to just how good they've been. They've been an AL dynasty, But if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have the same number of wins as we did when we won it in 2017. But yeah, the only thing that I can say is different personnel, but same results.
I mean, and I think as we know what happened in the after that championship, and you guys were proved to have cheated supposedly. Red Sox had the same issues. Both of you guys got in trouble for that. And then this one, it actually came out earlier today that one of you guys used an illegal bat. What do you think needs to change for that part of y'all's culture there? Like, what needs to change for that to quit happening?
Well, I'll go ahead and say that those bats actually came from he just retired. Pujols, yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I don't understand. They allowed him to use it because it was grandfathered in, but it was such a disadvantage or such a competitive advantage. Why didn't you tell him to stop using it? So the second the Astros use it, now it's a problem. You see what I'm getting at here? It's an agenda that's being driven home. Stop letting hit and run media hit you so hard. Stop doing it. Listen to everything first. Take everything into consideration. I'm not going to sit up here and say the Astros didn't have a competitive advantage. But guess what? There are many other teams that do it, and it's been proven. They just don't get investigated. You know what I mean?
And let it be noted that I don't dislike you guys for that reason. Like that has nothing to do with it.
I know.
But you know what? You guys made it to the World Series, and last series against the Yankees, it seemed like this was just destined going into the playoffs anyway. Like we knew the Yankees and the Stros were going to play each other basically, and even though the Yankees had a really weird second half of the season, like they slacked off some, they went on a losing streak. It seemed like they got it back together before the end of the season, but their one kryptonite has been you guys. Like, what do you think was different in that series that not only did y'all win, but y'all swept them?
Woo! considering that the last 2 times we met up in the ALCS, it went 7 games. I honestly thought it was going to go 6 or 7. You know, the Yankees just flat out didn't show up, and you know, with JB Ellis, and he said it. He said, "Man, the Yankees ain't doing nothing this year. It's going to be the Astros." I honestly thought the Yankees would still. Once we won Game 3 in the Bronx, I was like, that's it. I was like, that is it. You just knew that the Astros were just a better team. A better overall team, and it's been like that. 2015 wild card game, we beat them in the Bronx. 2017 ALCS, we beat them. 2019 ALCS, we beat them. 2022 ALCS, we beat them. It just is what it is. So Cashman needs to stop making excuses and just admit that. And oh, by the way, his team was caught doing stuff too. That came out. So with that being said, this is why I say all the time. And when you look throughout sports. Everyone talks about the Patriots. Everyone's talking about the Red Sox and everything. There are teams more than who use a competitive advantage. Because how much is not being talked about? That's my question. Is how much is not being
like exactly that same year that you guys won the championship, and the Red Sox got in trouble for the same thing. It was not publicized much at all compared to you guys. Now, obviously, you guys have won the chip, so there was a reason why it was publicized a little bit more. But is it unfair? Absolutely, it's unfair because cheating is cheating, regardless. So it seems to be something just in baseball in general that I don't know if it's just kind of they let it slide type of thing. And then now, there's more cameras, there's more media, there's more interaction with that. And so accountability is at a different level now.
I'm willing to bet you Manfred knew what was going on the entire time. The only reason why they did something was because someone said something. That's it. He knows teams do it. Sign picking has been going on for 100 years. 100 years. Sign picking has been going on for 100 years. Oh, you guys use technology. Well, this isn't 1935. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you know what I mean? Yeah, but there was one dude that said, you know what, it's not even
Boo, Astros, go Philadelphia.
I don't have the time. I'll let Jordan have that one. His Broncos barely got off a victory. I'll let him have that, okay?
He had a very big loss today.
But Wilson's still your quarterback there, buddy, anyway. But yeah, all in all, I mean, I'll just say this much is with sign picking, it's been a time. It's a tool in the tool belt. You still have to have an eye to hit the ball. Everyone's come out with this whole thing about Altuve was wearing the buzzer, and it's been debunked like 10 ways from Sunday. When are people going to stop bringing it up?
And I think it's also the MLB actually allows a lot of cheating. So when you cross that barrier into where you're really not allowed to cheat, that's the issue. And fair needs to be fair. It needs to be even Stevens across the board. So I don't know exactly why.
Can you imagine how Pete Rose feels about all this as he watches stuff like this unfold?
He's the one that's getting screwed the most.
Okay. So salty if I was Pete Rose. Swear I would be. All right, guys. Before Jay goes, let's talk a little bit of NFL. Jay, if you want to talk about your Texans real quick, and then we'll let you go and we'll finish up.
All right. Plainly put,
or if there was anything at the trade deadline that you want to talk about, if you don't want to talk about Houston.
Paul George barely beat the Rockets last night. He couldn't even let us have one. But
okay, but he had a stat that's never happened in NBA history. So I mean, you kind of got to give it to Paul. You got to give it to PG right now. Like it was a stat that has never happened in the history of the NBA.
But speaking on the Texans, though, the Texans are the Houston Rockets of the NFL. We're a young team with no veterans. You know it, Megan. You know it.
I've been saying this. I've been saying this since y'all's coaches were D'Antoni and O'Brien.
Mm-hmm. So we won in the same. And notice at that time period, we had Deshaun Watson, and the Texans were actually good.
Right.
And now it's just like, for the record, Megan, let it be known, we play y'all in December. Y'all might get us. Y'all might win that game. I'm gonna let you brag when the time comes, okay? We just might. I'm gonna be pulling for the Texans, but
I'm
we just
not
may drop
really
the Cowboys.
this season with the Cowboys. I'll be honest. I'm not really in brag mode. I'm just glad every time we actually win. Um, Bears, what a move yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to shout out to the Chicago Bears, man. I was kind of having a rough day, and that just really tickled me like tough for about an hour. So thank you,
It
Chicago.
did. It did, absolutely. All in all, though, I mean, young quarterback, young team. Damian Pierce is our offense. I am loving our defense, though our defense is pretty stout. They're just really young. They actually remind me of the Cowboys defense from 2 years ago when they were putrid, but they were young. And then even I said, give them another year or two, and then now look at them, you know. And not only that, but they got one of the greatest defensive minds in Lovie Smith, so I'm not worried about them. Stingley's a stud, Peachy's a stud, you know. If we can make a move or two to get, because our veteran theoretically is Brandon Cooks, you know, and OJ Howard, you know, but outside of that, I mean, I say let Mills finish out the year. We've been in every game this year. That's the crazy part, is we've been in every game this year. The largest margin of victory was, largest loss rather, was versus the Raiders, and even then we were in that game until the fourth quarter. So the team is actually better than advertised. We just got to finish games. The same thing I say about the Rockets.
Right. Yeah, that is the same thing. I'm completely relatable. Well, all right, Jay, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can follow you, plug your own projects you got going on.
All right. Well, first off, shout out to Megan and Jen and Candy for having me on. First ever episode of Chicks and Salsa. You heard it here first. And let it be known, ESPN is jocking y'all Stilo because they got an all-female cast, but who did it first? But my favorite women on this screen. Exactly. Oh, shout out Care Bear. But yes, absolutely. Confidential. We will be back with a one-off episode after the World Series and another one in December. And then we'll be back full-time in February in time for spring training. We'll have a new start time, so no more slumber parties. Also, unexpunded Wednesday nights, myself, Jen, Scott Morganrath, and Jacob Christner. The Gauntlet Fridays, myself, JJ, James, Dom, hottest and latest in NFL, and also Basket Bros on Sunday. Produced by Jen, and it's myself, Scott, Dom, when he can make it, and Jacob Christner and Will Bogle. Thanks a lot, y'all.
Thanks,
Thank you
Jay.
so much, Jay.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right, y'all be safe. Be good.
Thank you. Bye, hun.
All right, ladies. So what did y'all want to touch on in week 8 of the NFL? Candy, you want to start us off?
Sure. I'm not so sure. I'm real happy. I shouldn't say my Packers, they're not having a good year. Let's be brutally honest. But we also had some brutally injuries, I should say, that were missing, like the top 3 wide receivers on Sunday. So it's really hard for Aaron Rodgers to throw to young guys. Our offensive line have been injured here and there too. So he's getting clobbered. We did finally go to our running game, which was actually working. We just couldn't keep up with the likes of Allen. He was just, I mean, Buffalo, I believe, is honestly the team to beat this year. They're having a phenomenal year, and we held competitive for a while, but they did, the better team, as much as I'd hate to admit, won this game. Green Bay's got a lot of answers. They've got to figure out. Some of their play calling was questionable at best. The fact that we didn't go out and get any notable, I mean, I know we don't normally go out and get free, trades and stuff like that, but Aaron Rodgers has been asking for years for some wide receivers. And for years we don't listen to him, but yet that's a glaring need. So I don't know if the price was way too high, where we didn't have what we needed to. I have a hard time knowing that Chicago got a wide receiver. I have a hard time, and I cannot believe that the Detroit Lions traded with the Minnesota Vikings within the division like that.
Within the division, yeah.
That hurts. That hurts. And it really was a bad trade for Detroit, if you ask me.
Absolutely. I don't know what's going on in Detroit, but that seems to be their theme. So I think that's kind of part of the course for Detroit. But Chicago getting Claypool, I will say he's on my fantasy team this year. He has not done a thing. I don't know if he's going to do anything in Chicago. I think that they have a better quarterback. Their quarterback situation is better than what was going on in Pittsburgh, obviously. So there's a little bit to gain from that. But Chicago's not a good team, so it's not like he's going to a contender or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't think I would take the Claypool trade too hard, too much candy. Like I said, he's been on my fantasy team. He hasn't done a thing all season.
He's
And I'm guessing we just didn't want to give up, what they were asking for him.
You know what? I think Green Bay is one of those teams that is very similar. We were talking about this earlier about San Antonio Spurs. Like, they're just not known for that. They make their moves in the offseason. They make their moves in free agency in the draft. And that's what they do. So not really a big surprise that you guys didn't do anything. Does it still hurt? Is it still painful? Absolutely, of course. Every time, the trade deadline hits in the NBA and I'm just like, Spurs didn't do a thing.
Well, I'm just going to do one quick shout out because this week Green Bay plays Detroit. And if any of you none of you know, my husband is from Detroit and I'm from Wisconsin. So we have an in-house rivalry between the two that happens this weekend. Our teams actually played each other on our wedding day as well.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
Your anniversary is Thursday?
No, our anniversary is the January 1.
Oh, okay.
So they always play them twice a year, and when they actually played on our wedding date, like that, we watched the game at night.
Oh, that's cool.
Part of the reception. Cool. So, house divided.
All right, Jen, talk to us about what you wanted to talk about. Not only week 8, like what happened with the Carolina Panthers. Chime in on some other things that happened this week.
Me?
Huh?
Oh, I thought you were talking to Katie still. Sorry.
No.
Okay, I'm going to say this for us and for the Seattle Seahawks. Officiating, get better. Just get better. Know who you're officiating first and foremost. Know your teams, because that was funny. Did y'all catch that? What they did in Seattle?
I did not.
The official said something about on the sideline penalty for the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, no.
Oops.
Like, he totally got booed, and like people were laughing as they were booing him. It was like, I'm sorry, Seahawks.
That is funny.
Like, he's human. The Panthers, okay, honestly, on Sunday there were 2 totally different games, first half versus second half. It was still back and forth a lot during both halves. Second half though, Deonta Foreman had an epic game, 117 yards, 3 touchdowns, just epic. Then, as our Chiefs checks quarterback said, we had the throw of the year. With 23 seconds left on the clock, PJ Walker threw to DJ Moore 67.8 yards, caught for a touchdown. DJ walked off of the field of play, removed his helmet, which is actually legal, but yet the officials forgot we already fired rule, so they caught a penalty on us, and essentially that iced our kicker. So we go into OT, right?
Mm-hmm.
But our kicker's already nervous. The Falcons get the ball initially. CJ Henderson intercepts it. It was a beauty of an interception. Like, he went underneath the offensive player. I forgot who it was. It was Falcon. I don't really pay attention. And we, Bryce, I love you, but boo. Like, I love you. So nice. But yo, no. But congratulations on your one. But CJ went underneath, grabbed it, ran back to the 25-yard line. At which point, we had a very poor call made by our coaching staff. We did not kick it. I think had we kicked it at that point, which we could have, we would have won. But alas, the Falcons continue to beat the Panthers and the I-85 rivalry. But I'll see you on November 10th, Bryce. Let me know if you'll be in Charlotte. We can give each other a hard time at the game. But what was really cool was on Sunday, honestly, the Chubb trade had everybody going. So, I mean, everybody knows what happened today with Chubb being traded. Jordan is excited that he's got a first round draft pick. Sad to lose Chubb. But on Sunday, so this one's close to my heart, but I was going to be nice and let anybody and everybody talk about it. Christian McCaffrey did something that not a lot of players do. Not shocking coming from CMAC. But he did he achieved the touchdown triple crown. And that means he had a rushing touchdown, he had a passing touchdown, and he had a what was the third one?
Receiving touchdown.
What?
Receiving touchdown.
Thank you. I couldn't think of the other one. So, and what people do not know is people are like, oh, did y'all know Christian could throw a ball? Yes, he was actually our emergency backup quarterback. There was one time we got really nervous when we were playing the Saints that he maybe caught in. It also showed exactly how strong Cam Newton was, to be perfectly candid, and how strong like PJ Walker, Sam Darnold, like all the quarterbacks that are in the league, to be honest. They take a lot of hits. And so and Christian also used to play quarterback in high school.
Okay.
So that was something my father-in-law told me this past weekend, which I did not know. But side note, I do think Christian will be back on the Carolina Panthers roster in a year and a half.
Awesome. Well, for the Cowboys, we managed to get a win against Chicago. First half, it seemed like it was all Dallas. All Dallas offense anyway. And then Chicago was able to come back a little bit. It was 49-29, I believe. And while it was a great offensive win for us, I still have some questions about our defense. And that's something I haven't had to say basically all season. It does seem like Parsons is dealing with a couple of injuries. He had a brace on his shoulder and kept grabbing at his groin area. So there's definitely some problems right there. And I will say that I think we probably should have just let him sit out. And that hero mentality is maybe not what's best for his health and what's best for the team, honestly. He is our star defensive player. So if you're injured, you might need to just sit out a game, especially if you're playing Chicago. We play Green Bay next. Whereas we know Green Bay's struggling, but it's still a game that all Cowboys fans circle on their schedule. And they're like, hey, this is going to be tough because they knock us out of the playoffs all the time. So there is bad blood built up there.
And that will be us playing against our old coach.
Exactly. Also, yeah, absolutely that. So, there is some storylines to that rivalry right there. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a rivalry, but we definitely know it's a big game for us. And then after that, we play the Giants. And so we know the Giants are playing really well this season too. So that's going to be a big game, besides the fact that it's division rivals. So Cowboys are going to take their bye week. And thank goodness for that, because I think, there's some injuries that need to be taken care of, and hopefully Micah comes back and looks back to form.
I hope he does take some time out, like learn from those who have fallen before you, whose careers may have ended prematurely because they didn't take time out for their health.
Right, absolutely. He's so young and he's so important, Yeah. He's the
Absolutely.
Heart and soul of that defense. And so, whereas some of these players we've had for a while, D-Law, like ever since we paid D-Law, he hadn't done a whole lot until this season. Like last season, he was injured for a while. When he came back, he didn't do a whole lot. Now this season, it seems like, Tank is back. But I feel like that's because Parsons just really lights a fire under this defense. And not only Parsons, Quinn as well. I think he came in and set the tone whenever they cut Jalen Smith and they were like, you're not producing, so you're going to go. I don't care how much we paid you. And that was very important. So that's what the Cowboys got going on. A little nervous about the Green Bay game, but I think at this point in time, it'll probably be a pretty close game. And low scoring, because neither one of us have weapons. All right. That is gonna do it.
I love that, Candy. Your face. I'm sorry.
I don't know. It's pretty rough this season. The Cowboys are still managing to win some games, but just that Green Bay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you, everybody, for watching, sharing, commenting. We appreciate y'all interacting with the show. And we will see you back next week.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, guys. And don't forget, if you have any ideas, put them up on our Three Chicks in a Pod website or reach out to any four of us, okay? Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.